I've written this question based on some questions that have appeared in the new SAT math questions that they've released so far. So go ahead, pause the video, try this question. While it is true that the new SAT math is moving away from the style of question that dominated the old SAT math, which was more about problem solving, using concepts in novel ways, and instead moving towards questions that are a lot like what we've done in your math class. So algebraic manipulation, which is essentially what this question is about, and really just questions that you're used to seeing, concepts and strategies and formulas that you're used to doing in math. So while a lot of our strategies may not be as useful for the old test, and we're going to have to develop new ones for the new version, there are some of the old strategies that still work. And one of those strategies, one of the most popular strategies from the old test, and also one of the most useful, is plugging in. So plugging in does live on this test. It does work. So how would you use it on a question like this? Well, first off, the same rules apply here than they applied on the old test. If you see variables in the answer choices, that's a really good sign that this is going to be a candidate for plugging in. So I will show you the plug-in method, and I will show you the algebraic method. So what does the plug-in method look like? Well, we're going to pick values for D and L, and that's going to give us a value for A. And then we're just going to plug those values in here and see which one works based on the values that we plugged in, right? 3 of them are not going to work because they're not the correct rewriting of this expression. And one of them is going to work. So let's pick some values. Now, again, you could pick anything, but if you're careful with the numbers you pick, you can make your life a little easier. So in this case, I'm going to pick D is 6 and L is 3. Because when I do that, I'm going to get 6 minus 3 over 6 plus 3, which is 3 over 9, which is 1/3 for the value of A. And that just makes our math in a second a little bit easier. So our values are, let me move this down here now, just to get it out of the way. So our values are D is 6, L is 3, and A is 1/3. Now let's go to the choices. Let's plug these in, see which one works. Let's try A. So we're going to have, this is going to equal 3 times, well, 1/3 plus 1 is 4/3 over, and then 1/3 minus 1, well, that's giving us a negative. That's going to get us negative 2/3, and we're kind of done at this point because our answer this should equal 6, right? Because that's what D is. This should be 6. But we're going to get, that 3 is going to cancel. We're going to get negative 6, which is close, but not quite what we're looking for. So we get rid of A. How about D? Here we're going to have 3 times, in this case, it's A minus 1 on top. So that would be negative 2/3 over negative 2/3. So in fact, we can see that these factors would cancel right away. But when we do that, we're going to get positive 3, which is not quite what we're looking for. Let's try C. So we're going to have L times A plus 1, so that's 4/3, over 1 minus A, and that's going to be 2/3. So we're going to do a little cancellation here. The 3's are going to cancel. The 2 is going to go into, this should be a 2. The 2 goes into this 4 to leave a 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. So this definitely matches. And then finally, D is negative 1. That doesn't match. So the answer here is C. And we can do this by plugging in. Now, of course, you can also do it algebraically, and that's totally fine. If you know how to do it algebraically and you can do it algebraically, that's great. But at the very least, what I like doing with plugging in that case is using it as a way to check your answer. So once you get C, plug in some values into the original and into C. If they match, 99.9% of the time, you're good to go. You got it right. So you could use plugging in to get the answer straight away, like we did here, or you can use it as a way to check your work. And that's so critical if you're going for, an 800 in the math. So let's do it algebraically. So we start with A equals D minus L over D plus L. Let's cross multiply. We're going to get AD plus AL is equal to D minus L. We're going to bring all the D's to one side. So we're going to get AD minus D. And then I'm going to subtract AL from both sides. So I'm going to get AL minus L. Let me factor out a D from the left side. I'm going to get D times A minus 1. And I'm just going to factor out an L from over here. In fact, I'll factor out a negative L. And when I do that, I get A plus 1. And now let me just divide both sides by A minus 1. So D is equal to negative L over A plus 1 over A minus 1. Notice that doesn't match any of the choices, but what I can do is I can turn this into 1 minus A, and that will cancel out the negative because a minus 1 is equal to negative parentheses 1 minus a. So what that means is this negative is going to cancel, and I'm going to be left with d is equal to L times a plus 1 over 1 minus a. And as we saw previously, the answer is C. So if you were able to do this algebraically, that's great. At this point, what I would do, if I had the time, plug in some values, just make sure it works, because that will help confirm your answer. To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.